Good morning, 11 a.m. on a Saturday in the Pacific time zone. It's April 29th, 2023, and this is the Saturday edition. Today's title This is the Windows. Saturday edition. Today's title This is the Windows. Saturday title This is the Windows. Saturday. So I guess I got my audio check. Windows Fixer Club on Saturday live stream 4/29/2023, and so audio, video, DVR. Let's see, I guess I can even check DVR, can't I? Yeah, if I can go back in DVR mode, that works. And watch. I haven't been doing the watch for a long time. Somewhere along the way, I stopped doing that. And that is the trick to me being able to hear text notifications coming in from people who are trying to let me know of something that's going wrong in the stream. And I have some other things about text notifications in case people ask for that subject in my list of topics for today. So hello, Robert, Bobby, Guy, Greg Guy, Ken Stout, Dennis, William Dawson, Ida Rivera, Tim, Sal, Jonathan, William Dawson, boss. Not my boss. You ain't the boss of me. Doug is. Ida Rivera, Ran Israel, Black Serendipity, Selden Ball, I think I caught already. Carl J. Chris Garrett, Brian Lightfoot, Zvi Menor, John Williams, Jeff Ryan. I think I caught up with everybody. I think all of the comments in chat are basically chit chat, people talking about hard drives, caps lock, initial setup on my sister's new laptop that came with Windows 11, Shift F10 to get the command prompt and bypass Microsoft account doesn't work anymore. Let's see. Good afternoon from Black Serendipity. Good afternoon, Ida. Nice to see you. See there? I caught all of those abbreviations that the cool kids do. Mac McCarthy, hello. I'm trying to remember if I recognize your name from here. I'm not sure. Are you new here? Welcome aboard if you're new. And even if you're not new, welcome aboard. Doug noticed a few videos ago that you have like 5 glasses in a rack and change them regularly, since I've seen different one missing each time. Nice. Yes, as a matter of fact, I just realized while I was in the other room that I need to change it out again because these glasses are dirty. So that's, I've used the last one on the rack now. So the bottom rack is empty now. That means I need to take them to the other room where I bought this sonic cleaner thing, ultrasound, I think it is. And it's just easier than taking my glasses every day and spraying them and wiping them. So I do them once or twice a week, and they last me a while. You're the second person to mention having noticed that. Arnold Albert, hello, Jonathan. So let's get the procedure down again. If you want to get my attention in chat to make sure I read something, use some big, bright, bold emojis that I'll notice, or put me in orange by doing the @ Live Windows Training and clicking on me. Either way, I'm intending for it to work. Sometimes I don't catch things as well, and I don't think the exclamation marks that we were doing for a while are a good choice anymore. And Lightfoot, I just throw my glasses into the washing machine. Is that intentional? Now, washing machine, dishwashing or clothes washer? When you say washing machine, I assume clothes washer. I've been viewing your videos for a few months, but seldom can make live shows. Well, okay, Mac McCarthy, that is good enough. Let's turn you blue. And welcome, glad you could make it for a live show today. I've heard somebody said that before. Maybe it was you that said that on a prior live show, that you seldom can make the live shows. Okay, we have people in Zoom. So let's go bring the people in Zoom. For those who don't know, if you want to participate in Zoom, send me an email to the email address that I show occasionally, and I'll send you the credentials, provided I recognize you. If you're a brand new name that I haven't become comfortable with, then it may take a little while before I bring you in. 4 people in the waiting room. Okay, so viewing them. Let's see, I haven't punched that up on screen yet. William Dawson, Brian Lightfoot, Tim Sal, and Josh. Admit all, and then turning off the waiting room so anybody else can just jump right in. So in my top left corner is Brian Lightfoot. Let's start with you, Brian. Hello, how are you today?
Greetings.
Greetings.
Aloha.
Aloha. Is that a greeting card or just a verbal greeting you're giving me?
No, I'm having Hawaiian pizza.
Hawaiian pizza, meaning it has pineapple on it. Yes? There are some people in the chat room who are going to get all upset that you're eating pineapple on a pizza. You know that, right? Okay. Let's see. Then, did you have any topics to bring to the show today? Any questions or comments?
Out of there. Come here.
That was for William. I mean, Brian. Sorry. Brian.
Oh, no.
Okay. Said that wrong. Okay. Then I'll go to the next slot on my screen is Josh. Hello, Josh.
Hello, Doug.
Now, did I understand your request right? Do we want to extend the volume on your new 1 terabyte drive today?
Yeah. What did you do you have? You got a Band-Aid on it.
Yep. I've had that for a few days. The only explanation I gave to the audience so far is 2 guys in a bar fighting over a girl, and that's how it turns out.
Oh, okay.
And the more correct story, I don't think I've told you guys, is I was crawling under my desk to fix a wire, and I've got a shelf under there that holds the woofer for my speakers. And as I was looking down at the ground, I didn't see that shelf, and I banged right into it. And I think there's some brain material still on the edge of that shelf.
2 guys in a bar, and you should see the other guy.
That's right. I never mentioned how he looks. And I'm not going to. Okay, so next is William Dawson. Hello, William.
Hey,
Did you have any...
you get guitar on.
Say again?
You got a guitar in front of you.
A guitar. A guest star. Yeah, we got the backside of your cap. Are you trying to tell me something?
That's the use you like to
Here it
get.
comes. There it is. You just gave me it. That's not giving me the finger. That's giving me the tail. All right. I see the way it is. You know what? I'm just going to move on past you, William. Tim Sal, hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
You got any topics to bring to us today? Any comments?
No, I'm just waiting on some computer parts to be delivered today.
Did you ever
Can't go nowhere.
Did you ever try telling those pilots they're supposed to fly the plane with the other side up?
They don't listen.
I hate
If
to.
you look at that picture real closely, the number 5 is painted on there upside down intentionally. So when he is upside down, the 5's right side up.
The 5. I'm looking for the number 5.
Yeah. You'll see it on the intake.
Oh, right here on the intake. Yeah. Okay. And then down here, I think this one, I can't quite make out what the number is. Is it a 6?
Yep.
Okay.
Could be 9. Could be 9 when he flies upside down.
Oh, when he flies upside down, sure.
Yeah, it's a 9 when he's upside down.
All right.
I've never noticed that before, and I took that picture.
Oh. John Williams asked Tim, are you a pilot?
Been flying off and on all my life. Dad's airplane.
However, in all the times that you and I were involved, all the years we were involved in the flying clubs, you weren't flying planes yourself. You came in my plane many times to take photos.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's see. Have I covered everybody? Yes. Let me turn off that participants pane because that's a pain. Oh, Doug. I got a chuckle out of that. I can't believe it. Somebody left. Let's see. Jonathan, Randy, Israel, Mac McCarthy, Bobby. I have to get a new hard drive now. Cat is mooning you, so we're all covered there. All right. And as far as I have lots of pilot stories. Oh, Baby Beast has gone to sleep. How about that? It's been a while since I've touched Baby Beast. When I was preparing for my practical flight exam, where examiner goes up in the plane with me to decide whether I should have a license or not, I was up preparing for that with my instructor, and we got a call over the radio and says, all airspace is closed. You need to land your aircraft now. That's not actually the quote. It was actually another pilot saying something along the lines, hey, did you know all airspace is closed? You're supposed to land. He replied, no, we didn't know that. We called the Fresno Air Terminal, and they confirmed that. Yes, all airspace is closed. You must land your plane. So we landed. And then sometime during the next hour or so, we got on to listening to radio news and discovered, oh, this is September 11th, 2021. No, 2001. That was 9/11 attacks in progress. So I was one of the people ordered to land. Well, let's get started. Let's see. I don't see any other topics in chat requested. Somebody's requested topic number 2. Yeah, Jonathan requested topic number 2. Going to see what that is. And that is Josh Kinder. So we'll start with that. That'll be pretty quick. So Josh, you have an icon on your desktop called DougBetts Remote. Can you go ahead and launch that for me?
Yep.
Well, let's see if I've got Baby Beast coming up on screen. Yes, it does.
Yeah, I remember 9/11. We were at the airport getting ready to take off, and they warned us, "You better not move that plane."
Oh, you were on their tarmac too, huh?
Yeah, I was on a grass runway at a private EAH hacker airport.
Yes, 1, 2. I don't know why my video's not showing. Okay, go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I think you finished there. Chris, did I already say good morning to you? You just came in, didn't you?
I just came in.
Ah, well, good morning. Do you have anything to bring to the show today?
I do not.
All right. Oh, here's Josh waiting for me to click on something. Come on, Doug. I'm waiting for you over here. Let's turn on a picture-in-picture there. And restart applet as system service. You might have a prompt on your screen now, Josh, to click yes or allow or something like that. There's that. I am drinking hot tea this morning because my throat's a little congested. I've already muted my mic once or twice to clear my throat. And the sound indicator says I'm still transmitting my audio. All right, what we'll do is come down to the Windows button and right click and choose Disk Management. Josh upgraded from a 0.5 terabyte to a 1 terabyte NVMe drive, and he did a restore using Macro Reflect to restore the backup image from his 0.5 terabyte drive to the 1 terabyte drive. When you're doing that, there's an option that you can tell Macro Reflect to extend and fill up all of the available space. He apparently didn't do that. He's got a 474 gigabyte C drive, and there's 454 gigabytes over here unallocated. I'm going to right click here, and I don't get the choice of extend volume, and that I believe is because we've got this recovery partition here. The recovery partition did not get put to the end. So we can delete the, no, we can't even delete the recovery partition. I'm going to say I probably haven't ever come across this scenario before. So I'm thinking perhaps what we'll do is have a fresh backup of the C drive and then restore that backup to his 1 terabyte drive. We could go use some other disk utilities to manipulate those partitions and move them around. That would be a different way of doing it, but we already have Macroom Reflect, and we probably want Josh to know how to do it the right way in the first place instead of having to go grab some kind of disk utilities. I'm going to give the chat room a chance to chime in, see if they might know some other way for me to deal with this without even doing a backup and restore, but I think that's what we're going to have to do. So people saying hellos, Ken Stout's driving home listening to the car. Whoops, that's already.
I was surprised that I did that before all on my own, because when I did it with Howard a long time ago, we had to tell me, go up, go down, no, go right, no, go up.
Well, good on you for being able to do it. Let me catch up on chat here. Greg Guy, I've updated my BIOS from ASUS 6042 to 6063. After it completed, it would not boot. Got 3 beeps. Had to reset RAM to 3200 versus 3300 probably, which I was running for 2 years. So I'm guessing since he said that's what he had to do, that he's got it working now. Does he have it working now? Greg Guy, anything else from Greg Guy? Did you get it all solved, Greg? Tim, are we getting new F-35 fighter jets? No new F-15. Don't quite understand that comment, Tim. Are you saying, no, we're not getting F-35s, we're getting new F-15s, or we're not getting new F-15s? I don't quite understand your comment.
We're not getting F-35s, but they're going to replace the ones we have with brand new F-15s.
Oh, all right. F-15s are the twin engines, right?
Yeah.
F-16s is what our Air National Guard is flying out of. No, we're flying F-15s now. We used to fly F-16s. What else we got here? Add some honey to your tea, Doug, from Black Serendipity. I've done that on occasion. Not a big fan of it. It's supposed to help soothe the throat. I'm not really trying to soothe my throat. I don't have a sore throat. Just need to cut through the phlegm. Alex Cheek says, hi, Doug. When I've done this in the past, I've had to use a program called Aomi Partition Assistant. So I think that's what he's referring to, is to take what we have here and manipulate the partitions. But I'm feeling more attracted. That would be quicker to do. We could download the Aomi Partition Assistant. That would go pretty quick. But Josh isn't short on time, and I think I'd rather have him learn how to do it the right way in the first place. Speedy C is saying topic 5, please. Go see what topic 5 is. Startup items. CPU and disk usage info at startup. All right. You can move it with various disk utilities. Agreed. Rick Lakes also likes that option number 5, or topic number 5. This happens when you restore a smaller image to a larger drive. Yes, indeed. Something like ASUS Partition Master will move that partition. I'm sure there's lots of partition tools that'll do it. Black Serendipity says, I found Mini Tool PW is easiest one to do it. Chris Talix, if you clone a Cronus, it don't happen, but restore it, it will. That seems strange. Chris, are you saying that if you clone a drive from one drive to another, cloning, it doesn't happen? What's the it that you're referring to? If you're cloning, it's going to make the same drive size as the original, so it's not going to expand to fill the space. Chris, did you mean to say something other than that? He's muted, and his camera's off, so I don't know if he's even listening right now.
I'm sitting here typing in my in the chat, answering you. I forgot I was in the room.
Oh,
I don't know what's wrong with me today, but if you clone when I've done it, if you clone to a bigger drive, it will automatically recycle.
It
But if
shouldn't.
you restore, it puts it the same
All right.
as what the backup was.
All right. It seems odd to me that Acronis in a clone operation would default to filling up the extra space, because I guess, well, it's not a forensic clone that you're doing in Acronis, so maybe it just defaults to fill the space. All right.
I have had it to be smaller. I don't know what, if I'm doing something wrong sometimes, but I have had it to be smaller before. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it was Macron that I used. I don't remember.
Okay.
But there's probably a way to do it automatically in Macron too.
Well, not automatically. Not automatically. It's a choice. There's a place to choose it. And that's what I'm intending to show today, because that's the way I'd like Josh to know how to do it, and anybody else using Macron. It's very, very easy. Very simple. But if you don't know the option is there, it's easy to miss. It would be a better design, I think, if Macrium actually asked you, do you want to fill the unused space? Because it doesn't ask you that.
Greg Hill says, yes, it will automatically expand it. I thought I was right. Well, I know I've done it.
Automatically expand. Yeah, I see that from Greg M. Okay. Greg Guy says, yes, I'm using now. Just wondering if you have any thought why I can't run my RAM at 3333 speed. So that was in relation to Greg Guy's comment up here. When he updated his BIOS after it completed would not boot, had to reset the RAM to 3200 from 3333, I guess is the speed, the alternate speed. And the only thing that I would know about why it wouldn't run at that is if your memory's not capable of it. But that is outside of my area of expertise. So other people in the chat are probably going to be better at answering that. Jim likes Haomi. Jesse Kirk, you can use disk part to delete the recovery partition, then expand it out to the C drive. Disk part, list disk, select disk X, list part, select part X, X recovery partition. Yeah, that's more complicated than I want to take. That I want to teach Josh. Other people in the community might be interested in learning that. I don't ever need to use that. I'm feeling more attracted to just showing the right way in Macro and Reflect to begin with, because then you don't have to do that, jump through those extra hoops. It's a very simple choice. The semicolon, Jesse, this is Jesse Clerk, is a new line enter. Okay, got it. But with 200 characters in chat, I split it up so it all fits one message. Gotcha. So he's saying go to the disk part, then the list disk command, that'll show you the disks that are available. Then you can select the disk that you want to select. You're not selecting disk X. You'd be selecting disk by a number, 0, 1, 2, 3, whatever it is. Then list partitions, and you can abbreviate that as PIR. Then select partitions, and again, abbreviating the word partition, 3 characters. So you're saying which partition you want to select. And he's saying that the X equals the word partition number, except back here when you select the disk, you're using the disk number, not the partition number. And then delete the partition and with some kind of an override to allow it. Got that? Acronis will automatically expand. Jim in DVR mode doing updates to Logitech Brio cameras. Brian Lightfoot's giving us a LifeWire link. How to delete a Windows recovery partition. Now, I wasn't really certain that it's safe to just simply delete it. I would think so, because as long as you don't need to do a recovery, then you don't need it. However, something that I'm wondering about, there's been conversation recently about Josh's Aunt Mary. What?
Need your help. Thank you.
What? Really? Okay, William just muted himself. That was coming through William, not Josh. I was thinking that was Mary on Josh's screen too. No, we don't need your help, Doug.
That was perfect timing.
Yeah, it was. There's some other conversation going on for William right now. And he muted himself. But there's conversation going around about Aunt Mary wanting to reinstall Windows 11 on her computer. And I'm thinking, why not do a reset? A Windows reset where you lose all your installed programs but keep your data, or even lose all your programs and keep your data, rather than going through all the full reinstall of Windows 11. I'd be more interested in seeing them pursue that method.
It will keep some programs and delete others.
Yes, I've seen that too. It doesn't do completely what it says it will do.
That happened to me on one of my Windows 11 machines last week. I had to reset it.
Well, I'm just accepting an appointment with a client here for 2 p.m. today. So we're going to... Oh, well, we normally want to end at 1 p.m. So we're good. Let's see. Coming back here to chat. It's G-Skill. I was running it at 3. Oh, okay. So Greg says he was running it 3333 for 2 years. Yeah, I do not know the reason why you can't do that now after the BIOS update. Josh, of all people, should not be deleting a recovery partition. He's going to need it at some point. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that too. Now, the recovery partition, I'm not certain about what all that it does, but I'm sure that it's involved if you do a Windows reset. I guess I should show what I mean by that because not everybody knows. So Windows key and then type reset. Reset this PC. You go in here to reset this PC and click get started. Oh no, Doug, are you resetting Big Beast Build while you're streaming? That's not a good idea. We get these choices of keep my files or remove everything. Keep my files says it removes apps and settings, but keeps your personal files. But it might not be really precisely that. There might be some applications that are still present, and I don't know which ones. It's been a long time since I've done that, and it might have been Windows 7 since I've done that. I don't know. Or early days of Windows 10. Or remove everything, removes all your personal files, apps, and settings, and that should get you back to a pretty much clean install of Windows 10. All right, then where
Hey, Doug,
Yeah.
can't you put that recovery partition, can't you put that recovery on a USB and then delete it? Or will it work on the USB if you delete it?
No, I'd be more inclined, if you want to bring it back, would be to delete it and then expand the partition that we want to expand, and then from Macrim Reflect restore just that recovery partition to the end of the drive. I think yes, Josh.
Why do I even need that recovery partition if I'm doing backup with not doing Reflect?
The only reason you would need it is in a scenario like Aunt Mary has right now, where she doesn't want to restore a recent backup. She wants a fresh install of Windows 11. So you could do that reset this PC option to return this computer to a generic blank Windows 10. That would be a reason.
This is my computer.
I understand that. But is it possible somewhere in the future you might want to reset yours to the beginning point? But probably not. Yeah. So deleting the recovery partition for you really would be okay. But I think it's a better lesson for you to learn how to do the Macrim Reflect Restore correctly.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if we were to show you the deleting partition method, in my opinion, you should never do that on your own. But you can do Macrim Reflect Restores on your own. Case in point, you just did that. But you just missed one piece of it. So I'd like to correct you on that and show you how to do that correctly.
Okay.
All right. Other comments here. Chris says, I would not just delete it. Greg M. Windows recovery partition. This contains the operating system alone and allows rebooting when in the Windows RE environment. Well, I was wondering, does it have any, I don't think it does, but I was wondering if it might have any involvement when during a system restore or a Windows repair. I think in a system restore, I don't think it's involved because there is a folder on the C drive that contains the system restore files. But if your computer's having trouble booting and it goes into Windows repair mode when you reboot it, I think that recovery partition is involved then. Jim says, sounds like an ugly way of doing it. I'm going to assume he's referring to the messing with the partitions. Black Serendipity, feed a man fish all his life or teach him to fish. Yeah. Teaching is a good thing and what I want this channel to be about. Here's Gary Weisenberger. Hello, Gary.
Good morning to you, and good afternoon to the rest, most of the rest.
Yes. Hard to swallow pills. Windows 11 is not worse than Windows 10 anymore. Fine, fair statement in my mind.
Actually, I haven't used this Zoom on this computer for about a month.
Oh, all right. Oh, so that's why this is this background is left over?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go get going with Josh's computer. I'm going to bring his computer up on screen again and close down disk management. Let's see, how recently have you done a backup, Josh? Where's your backup folder? That's a reflect folder. That's not. Is your backup drive connected to the computer right now, Josh?
He's muted.
Josh? He might be away from the computer for all I know. Hello, Josh. Are you there? All right. Well, while waiting for him to come back, I'll go bring something else up. Windows key and then typing reflect. You want to allow this app to make changes? Yes. Take a look at his logs page, and here's a backup done yesterday. Oh, that one failed. I wonder if he knows that one failed. None of the specified backup locations could be found. Looks like he's moving his mouse. Josh, are you there? Turn your microphone on. Okay, thank you, William. And Josh seems to be moving the mouse around, but I need to have a conversation with you, Josh. Are you there? Turn on your microphone. Oh, I guess that's what he's trying to do. That's why he's moving the mouse, is to turn on the microphone and the camera. Okay. Yeah. Somehow it didn't occur to me that you need to move the mouse to unmute yourself. Okay. I was looking at your backup logs and see here that a backup scheduled for yesterday afternoon failed because the backup drive wasn't connected. And prior to that, your last backup was March 26th. So I am going to ask you to connect the backup drive. We'll make a fresh backup right now, and then we'll do a restore operation and show you the right way to do the restore operation. Now, this is going to take longer amount of time overall, but we're not going to have to keep watching it because we don't have to stay focused on Josh's computer while it's doing the backup. But this is a simpler steps to accomplish the procedure, and it teaches Josh how to do it. Josh, let me know when you have that backup drive connected. Let's see, what other topics, what other things can we talk about while we're waiting for that? Oh, the other topic that was requested by a couple of people was over here. Oh, startup items, CPU and disk usage info at startup. So we'll go into that topic once we get this backup started. Looks like the backup drive is here now. There's a backup from April 25th, but that's
for another computer.
a different computer. All right, I was thinking it might be. All right, checking how much free space we have on that drive. Lots of free space.
My amp got high.
Hello, Mary. Okay, we don't have scheduled backup jobs on this computer, so we'll create a backup job, image this disk. And that was the D drive, and don't have a subfolder here. I'm going to suggest that we have a, well, I'm just going to do it, so not quite a suggestion. Macrium backups. We'll put the backups in that folder. And here's a backup definition file that's probably for a different computer. Yeah. So if you're using the same backup drive for multiple computers, we're going to distinguish that here. We'll select the folder for this backup. Expand this D drive and click on the folder Macrium Backups, click OK. Then for the backup file name, we want to identify that this is for your computer. Should we call it Josh's computer, or shall we call it by the...
Copy.
Was that a yes?
Copy computer.
Say the name again.
What did I know my name? God.
Josh. I was also going to suggest maybe the brand of the computer, because since you have two computers, you don't want to... How do you know that this is your computer at Mary's house rather than your computer at the group home?
With AMD.
AMD? Okay.
Yeah.
That one that computer is a brand name. I'm trying to remember what it kind of...
Kufon.
Kufon. COOFUN. Is that a better way to name it, Josh, or is it better to call it AMD?
AMD.
Okay. So that's our backup file name. I'll click on Advanced Options and then Verify File System. We'll make sure that that check mark is there, and it is, because he's used that on previous backups. And then click Next. And I'm not going to make a schedule of this, and I don't need to change anything else on this screen if I'm just wanting to do a one-time backup. And then click Finish. We're going to run this now, but I'm not going to save it as a backup definition file. So that's off and running, and we'll go do something else in the meantime. Startup items, disk usage info at startup. The place you get that is on Task Manager, Control-Shift-Escape. By the way, if you haven't noticed, Task Manager on Windows 11 looks very different now. I think I've looked at Windows 11 Task Manager in the past, and it was not all that different as it is now. They made changes. Then I'll maximize that. And on the Startup tab, these two columns, Disk I/O at Startup and CPU at Startup, are not turned on by default. When you come in here to Task Manager on the Startup tab, this is the way it looks. Startup Impact, you just have these words high, medium, low, not measured, and so on. You could sort these in order for that column to see what things are taking up a lot of have a high impact on startup, but what is the impact? If you right click on any of these column headings, you can get this list of column headings and click on Disk I/O at Startup, and then do the right click again and CPU at Startup. Now you can sort them in order by either of those two columns to see what items are taking the most disk utilization when you start your computer. The same idea with the CPU, see what items are taking up the most disk utilization. So if you're working on a computer perhaps that the user is complaining that it takes a long time for it to start up, without restarting the computer, you can just go in right away and look at this. And if you can identify any things here that they don't need anymore, then you could come and disable them. Click on one of them and just come down here to the bottom right corner and disable it. Better to uninstall it rather than disable it if you've decided that it absolutely is not needed and we can get rid of it. Is there anything more to say about that? Who is it? That was item number what? Who was asking for that? That was item number 5. Speedy C was asking for number 5, and Rick Lakes was asking for number 5. What we could do for more of that is to maybe go figure out what to install on any of those. But the thing is that any computer that you look at, the items that are having a high impact on startup could be different. Let's get down. Let's see, where was I at in chat? Use this part. Let's see. Yeah, we've been over that one. We've been over that one. Okay, then this is where we were. Backup the backup. That was the old rule I gave myself in the 90s. What I have in various different situations, I'll have multiple backups. I'll have external drive backups that get rotated out, get taken offsite. I have cloud backups. I have backups in a second drive that's installed inside the computer. I'll have some computers I have backed up with a partition on the one single drive that's in the computer. I have in some computers a partition where backups are stored, and don't have a backup of the backup. It depends upon the consequences. If a drive goes bad and the backup is unusable, how much of a disaster is that? In many of the cases, in the cases where I have one drive in the computer and I've taken a partition in there and I create backups of the other partitions and store them on that partition, it's usually the third partition that becomes. Well, if the whole drive physically goes bad and has a problem, well, then we can't restore from backup. However, doing it on that partition means I can have that computer scheduled to do that backup every day, or it could be a separate drive in the computer, and some of them have that. But if I don't have that conveniently available, I'll just do it as a partition. Like I'll connect to a client's computer who's had problems occasionally, and I'll say, I want regular backups of this. I'm connected remotely. I can't physically install a second drive, but they have tons of excess space. So I'll shrink one partition and then create a backup partition where I'm going to store backups, install the free edition of Macro Reflect or a paid edition, depending upon the circumstances, and schedule every day backups where there's periodic full backups and then periodic differential backups. With the free version, you can't do periodic incremental backups. Then when I have a problem, I can connect remotely to the computer and restore that backup if it's still bootable to the C drive. And if not, I've gone out to their computer, connected my USB Macrium boot thumb drive, booted the computer, and restored the backup from that third partition. I've done that several times where it has quickly got us back into operational state. It's been a very useful tool. It's not the only way that you should be backing up something that's mission critical. Now, these computers, I could reload them from scratch, fresh install Windows, install their applications, and their data is stored on the server or in the cloud. If the data is stored on that computer and nowhere else, then we need a better backup plan. So the plan that you use for backups depends upon the circumstances. Tony Wallow with a $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Tony. I appreciate that. Yeah, let's see. What do we got here? Bobby, Doug, can you ask ChatGPT Do I need to install a super duper on my computer to install a hard drive? I don't know. Is this a joke? I don't understand the question. Anybody understand the question in Zoom? Can you ask ChatGPT, little typo there, do I need to install super duper on my computer? Okay, so I don't know what he's saying. Super duper is cloning software for the Mac. Oh, okay. So it wasn't a joke. And I'll go over here to ChatGPT, do new chat, click down here, Control V to paste his question in a Mac. No, you did not need to install Super Duper on your computer to install a hard drive in a Mac. Super Duper is actually a backup software for Mac that helps users make a bootable copy of their entire system on an external drive. To install a new hard drive in your Mac, you will need to physically install the drive into your computer. Well, maybe better reconsider. What is the question? Ask ChatGPT, do I need to install Super Duper on my computer to install a hard drive? I think if you think you do, there might be other details that you haven't told us about. You could install a hard drive without doing Super Duper. Do you need that? Depends on your circumstances. Do you need first to make a backup and then be able to restore it? What have you not told us? Tim Sal, say again?
He wants you to make a clone, I think.
Yeah, if he's wanting to make a clone, then yes, he does. He didn't ask that in his question, so ChatGPT didn't give us an affirmative answer.
This is true. We use Bing and ChatGPT for some things, just kind of experimenting with them. And if you get really detailed, they're actually not all that bad. But
Yeah.
you got to flowchart it down to the nth degree. But what's really fun is we play with it at work once in a while. We've actually had to come back to a program that I've written 20 years ago. It actually copied a program. I defined it. It came back a program that is in the public domain that came back as literally my program.
Oh, to answer some question that you were asking of ChatGPT?
Yes.
Well, that's kind of fun.
Doug,
Yes.
So if you used it and, you tried to sell it, let's say you said, I'm going to use that. It is copyrighted, but it is, copyleft, as they say. I would definitely go after you. You use it in a commercial product.
All right.
You say, well, ChatGPT or Bing OpenAI used it. I don't think so. You can go to the library and copy a book, but you can't publish it as your book.
Right.
And that's what ChatGPT does. It reads the library and feeds it back to you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Doug,
Yes, Josh.
can you cut my camera off, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. That's done. Coming back to chat. Chat room. Josh's backup has got less than 2 minutes to go, it looks like. Let's see. Tim Sal is asking topic number 6. Going to see what that is. CPU fan unboxing. Oh, hazardous packaging. Yeah, that one be kind of quick. So I told you recently on a Windows Daily about this computer that's not here. There it is, down there. It had the CPU fan issue. And I ordered a replacement CPU fan, and it comes with a heatsink. But look at what's poking through the bottom of that box. That's the screws, the captive screws for it. I have not opened the box yet. And those screws are actually poking through the bag here. The holes are actually here on this bag. So that's what I mean by hazardous packaging. Is that going to injure somebody? Well, maybe not, but it's not good. So I said CPU fan unboxing. So boom, there's the unboxing. Done.
Meets all the safety requirements in China.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, these captive screws. Now, the fan itself has Phillips screws, into the heatsink. And my intention is I'm just going to take the fan off of here and put it on. I'm not going to bother with taking the heatsink off and reapplying thermal paste. So just no need to do that. I'm sure somebody's going to be upset that I'm not going to do that more thoroughly.
It might make it go faster with new CPU paste.
Oh, let's jump down that. We need to jump down that rabbit hole one more time.
Yeah, right.
Will it make the user be able to type faster if we do that?
No.
Okay, coming back to, the backup is finished. Image completed successfully in 12 minutes, 17 seconds. Click OK on that, and then close. So what we're going to do next is just turn right around and do a restore operation. Come back to, let's see, the existing backups tab. And here's this backup. It's named Josh AMD. Now, Josh, do you want me to, I know you've got something going on there and probably your hands aren't very available. So I'll go ahead and do this and you can watch the video later. Agreed, Josh? Okay. So I'm going to click on restore and then copy partitions. And let's see, this looks like maybe an older version, not for commercial use because the place where I usually see that is over here. But here we have to go to layout. Now, the newer version, let's go see if it is obsolete on version, because here we can click on layout and make adjustments. But that's kind of a nuisance. The newer version, or maybe it's the paid version that has the easier way of doing it. Let's go see if we have an updated version available. Configure update check. It's not here's check for updates. No updates available. So I'm going to stand corrected that apparently the free version isn't quite as easy. Because right up here in the upper left area, in fact, let me go ahead and show it on Big Beast. Come back here, Windows key, reflect. Doug, are you actually going to perform a restore operation on Big Beast right now while you're streaming? Actually, you'd be surprised how far I could go with that without interrupting the stream. If I come over here to existing backups and select a backup and click on restore, and then copy partitions. Well, now come on, where is it? How is this making a liar out of me? It's not here either. Am I remembering an older version and now they've changed it? Right up here in the left area, there was a place to tell it that you wanted to expand to fill the space available. Does anybody in chat know the answer to that? Let's check. No. Is Dennis around? I know he's used Macrim Reflect significantly, I think. Huh. What am I missing about this? All right. Let's just go do this then. Copy partitions. So that copies these partitions down to here the way they are. I can't manipulate the partitions here, but I can click on layout. And then find, how do we do this? Start sector, we're looking at the C drive here. And okay, I'm going to click on this partition. Oh, here's float right. So I click on that and that floats it to the right. And now click on this and fill space. So that was a few clicks. We did not have to go into layout after all. So My recollection of doing this is different now. I don't know why, but it's not hard to do. The answer was to click on the partition. Let's redo this. I'll undo this. And then even undo farther. So now we're seeing here on the backup what the partitions are shown as. And here's the partitions on the well, I need one more undo. Okay, now we see the C drive size is different on the backup and the current disk. Why is it that much different? I think perhaps compression. No, I'm not buying that. Did I pick the right one? Here's the backup done today and started at that time. Okay, restore. Here I'm surprised that there's that much size difference. Now I have to say that this is not a normal common thing that I've done where I make a backup and then immediately restore it. Apparently there's some explanation for that. I am guessing it might be temporary files, programs that are open, something along those lines, don't know. But we know that that is a good backup. So I'll select copy partitions. That brings these partitions down. Then click on this one that we want to move out to the right edge. So we just click float right. Then we click on the C drive partition and fill space. Now his C drive is going to have 929 gigabytes of space available. I'm going to click verify image before I restore, and then click next. See Alex Cheek in Zoom. Hello, Alex.
Hello.
Calm down, Alex. Don't be so excited.
I've never noticed that before back in Reflect. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
I'm not very excited. That's kind of part of the reason why I've been staying off. Because I knew you get in on Josh, and I've been wanting.
All right. All right, coming back here to continue on this, and then click finish. So I was working on that restore now. They want that.
And that'll extend the C drive volume.
Oops, got another choice here. This restore must be completed in the Windows PE rescue environment. Do you want to build rescue media and add a boot menu now to automatic restore? I'm going to click yes on that. What that's going to do is that's going to create a automatic boot option. The computer's going to reboot into the PE environment. We're not going to be able to see that. Josh will be able to see that. It'll do the full restore. Josh doesn't need to click on anything. In fact, you shouldn't click on anything. Just let it go. When it finishes with the restore, the computer will automatically reboot and come back into Windows. But my remote session is unlikely to come back live because we made the backup while I was connected remotely, but a backup is backing up the hard drive. It's not backing up the current session of Windows. So it's not going to know about my remote connection. So I will end the remote connection from my side. When he restarts the computer, he'll have to click on the DougBetts remote icon on his desktop to reestablish the remote connection. Josh, do you understand that?
Yeah, don't up with the computer. Leave it alone.
Until it gets completely rebooted back into Windows. And then when you get to your Windows desktop, you can start Zoom again and you can reconnect to the remote session.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So here I'm clicking yes. And I think there's one more click that we'll have to do. So we're going to watch this for a little bit. Doesn't take very long. It's mounting WIM. I'm somewhere along the line. I knew what that stood for. Somebody knows. I think that's a fairly common acronym. Windows installation media, maybe? I don't know.
But basically, it's going to do it all automatically.
Yep, it's going to do all of it automatically. You don't do anything. Dennis says he can't answer that one. That would be in relation to my surprise that the technique for expanding that volume was different than what I was expecting. I don't see emojis or oranges hitting me up, except here's one from Aliaj Teape. You last carry live stream using everything Mobo. Earring. You last carry live stream using Earring motherboard. I did see portions of Carrie's live stream where he was working with the Earring motherboard. Was that a question? Aliaj has told us that English isn't his first language, so I'm not quite sure if there's a question in there. Let's see, was there any other oranges or emojis? Already saw that one from Greg. Already saw that one. Already saw that one. Saw that. That. Yeah, so I'm all caught up on the oranges and emojis. And it's still working. It says unmounting WIM. I don't even know if that's an unusual message there. I don't normally watch it very closely to see what all it goes through. Oh, what it's telling us, there's a warning. Adding language pack, adding SRT drivers, setting scratch space, adding legacy SMB support, committing WIM, unmounting WIM. Has anybody else committed WIM or been arrested for committing WIM? Buying something on a whim, maybe. I've regretted that before. I don't think that warning message there is anything of concern.
That stands for Windows Imaging Format.
Windows Imaging Format, WIM. So the IM is for imaging and format is just not, that letter's not included.
Yes.
Okay. Josh, are you trying to say something?
I have methods on my computer.
Yeah, I'm watching it. Here's that message, unable to lock a drive. The following drive is in use and the restore cannot continue. Windows PE restore options, automatic boot, automatically boot into Windows PE. This option is only available if you have enabled the Windows boot menu option in Mac Remove Fleck, which we have. After restore, we want it to reboot. We could select something else if we wanted to, but we want the reboot, so it automatically reboots after the restore. This message is completely normal and acceptable. I don't think I've ever read the title bar of that, because when I first read the title bar, I thought, oh, is this a problem? This looks completely normal to me. When we click on this Run from PE button, it'll restart the computer and start the restore operation. It's unable to lock the drive because the drive is in use. Windows is booted right now. So yes, it's in use. Because it's unable to lock the drive, that's why it wants us to click that button. If it was able to lock that drive, meaning if this was a drive that was attached through a USB device, or if it was a second drive installed inside the computer, it could just perform the restore operation right now. It would not need to reboot. So you're clicking Run from Windows PE, and then a Restart Now button. It gives you multiple opportunities to back out of the task, and I have had occasions where I have started the restore process, then walked away from my desk, come back an hour later expecting to find that computer has completed the restore operation and see that, no, it's waiting for me to click on another one of these confirmation buttons. So I try to get myself to stick with it and be sure I've clicked on everything. This tells us right now it's rebooting, 36 seconds into the reboot, but actually what it's doing now is rebooting into the Windows PE environment. We're not going to be able to see that. My computer still just thinks it's rebooting. My computer doesn't know that it's in the Windows PE environment and performing the restore operation. I'm going to leave that way and see.
Something interesting, and I have no idea how you do this, how this is done. Other than I think it's done through a Raspberry Pi. But one of Linus Tech Tips videos he did a while back was actually showing you how he was able to set up some Raspberry Pi so that you could actually look at a computer BIOS and all of that remotely. So if you was working, you could look at Josh's computer remotely and share it over the.
That seems
just something interesting I just happened to think of.
Yeah, it's interesting. Hard to imagine how that could be done. I could see how that could be done if you're on the same local area network, but to do it over the internet.
I think it involves some kind of Raspberry Pi, and the Raspberry Pi connects to the internet, and somehow the Raspberry Pi connects to that other computer, which is.
Oh, okay. If there's a Raspberry Pi local to the computer that you're trying to view remotely, okay.
Actually, you wouldn't need that. It's just a Linux computer. You can remote into a Windows computer with a Linux computer.
When the computer's in Windows computer's in BIOS without Windows running.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could I've seen that too.
Well, I can do that. I can do that of sorts. If I have a computer here, I can connect my StarTech capture device to my own computer here, and then I could connect to my computer here from a remote location and be able to see the BIOS screen on the subject computer by using a capture device. So I'm wondering if that Raspberry Pi was performing a capture.
Yeah, actually, though, I don't know how that would work on seeing the actual BIOS on a regular computer. Now, servers have that all the time.
Well, I can do it here. I've done it it on the show. I've had a computer.
With your BIOS on the server or on your computer, I mean?
On a subject computer that I have here in my lab, I can connect the capture device to it, feed that video into a computer that I have here, and this computer here can see that BIOS. I can connect to my computer here, my Windows computer here, from a remote location, and that way be able to see that. I mean, it's a lot of hoops to jump through.
But you can only see it, you can't interact with it, correct?
Right.
True.
But with a server, some servers, you actually can interact with the BIOS.
Yeah.
There's a remote and an Ethernet port.
Yes, I think that I am aware of that.
I think that's what Linus was trying to show. I think the name of that video was like Raspberry Pi KVM or something like that. And he was showing how to do all of that remotely if you really wanted to look into.
Linus Tech Tips published a new video yesterday showing a new network equipment in their various different buildings. I found that enjoyable watching that. That's just over my pay grade. But Gary, that's probably a type of equipment you have in your environment, isn't it? He's unmuted. Yes. Yeah. Because certainly you have that level of network complexity.
Actually, I had one that I was going to talk today real quick. Everybody pass a Windows Love Room telemetry. If you have a new car, we make a polymer safety plastic, if you will, that goes in doors of new cars. And we also do work with certain car manufacturers and monitor and do a lot of their computer on the cars. That's one of our product lines.
Yeah.
Well, there was an accident involved, and this is really cool. the person got hit T-boned in a car with the polymer, and we're semi-excited because they were hit at 87 miles per hour, straight flat on. They were just dead stop and got hit in the door head on. You know, a car hit them head on. And we got from both cars, one was a Ford and one was a GM. And I was called into work, you know, blah, blah, blah. We were excited, talking to Ford and GM at the time. I was actually down south at the plant that was making that at the time. And the one car that got hit was my wife's car. I didn't know. I mean, she believe it or not, we're actually hearing the data from OnStar, which is the GM, and we're getting the Ford data from the guy that hit her. And I'm listening to it live, you know, well, live on recording, because we're looking at it, you know, monitoring it. And it's like, holy well, never mind, we're on YouTube, but it's my wife's voice, and I'm like, what the heck? And, you know, we have all the data. We have the mile per hour, where the accelerator pedal was, the braking pedal, the person who hit her. We have what she was doing. Anyway, the good part is the polymer that's in the door. She was hit at 87 miles per hour. She was dead stopped. Person was just had under a quarter mile in a Mustang, 2022. She didn't even go to the hospital.
Wow. Wow.
The car was total.
Yeah.
And they had the voice of the EMS and the fire rescue. They had to cut her out. And they actually said, she's alive. And she said, get me out of here.
Wow.
The point being is they had, we had every information. We had the speed, we had where, we had the GPS, we had where they came from, where she was at. She was going to the doctor. I mean, I was, like I said, I know she was a doctor, but she didn't call me because she didn't want to tell me, you know. This was like 4 hours later because we were, you know, not excited as in the bad way, of course, but, you know, nobody got hurt. The safety polymer worked. We got to drop the data. Now, you understand, the other part of the data is if we had autonomous cars, you would say, hey, you just got a car coming at you. You would have sped her car up and stopped that car. Because the GPS, or the idea with the GPS and the autonomous cars right now is we're going to be looking at your car, the car next to you, and it's going to be talking to each other. Think of the cloud is going to be looking at you from above.
All right.
So she saw that our car would have saw the car coming at her and would have tried to slow that car down and sped her car out of the way.
I see. There, what was it? It was
Imagine that in the ABS in and out plug.
But the only part that's a monkey wrench is the car that doesn't have that control.
right, right. So that was a T-bone situation where they're coming at angles to each other.
Yep.
Ah, all right. So that's why slow one car down and speed the other way up. Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, she was all right. So the safety polymer was great. Everybody's happy. Person got a ticket. They were speeding double the speed limit.
Yeah. Wow.
Dad's car, 16-year-old.
Oh,
Hey, Doug,
yes.
I'm back on good with the phone.
Yes, I saw you. I had you spotlighted there for a little bit. So we'll look at that once in a while. If you don't have to hold that the whole time, Josh. It probably gives you a time estimate below those green bars. Can you read the time estimate?
It's under an hour.
Under an hour. Yeah. So yeah, you don't want to hold that that whole time. I think
There's two ones going across. One looks like it's gonna be the other one.
yeah, one is for the current task and the other is for the overall task. So one of those is going to repeat. It's going to get to the end and then it's going to repeat again.
The worst restore I ever did with Macmoon Flex was I upgraded somebody's hard drive to an SSD, and they had so much data that when the restore was done, the SSD was almost completely filled up, and it was very slow. The SSD was very slow because of all the data on it, almost as slow as a hard drive. And you come to find out that the person didn't even need all of the data, all the programs all they wanted was to get
make sure they was able to put them back on there. So
Yeah.
that was a complete waste.
Oh. All right, let me catch up with some chats because some people have put in the emojis. Dennis says, even I didn't know about that float right operation. And then he says that WIM stuff is referring to operations being performed to create a boot environment for Windows PE. And Greg M., I see their cable management, though, is not improved very much. Where were we talking? Cable management. What? What cable management? What is he talking about? Does anybody know what Greg's talking about?
Probably Josh's cable management.
Oh, when he was showing his camera around, I guess?
Right.
Oh, all right.
And a WIM file is used if you got a big corporate environment or a school environment where you want to have a custom image. A WIM file is what you use to deploy to all machines over the network, for example.
Ah, all right. All right. Another thing I'm not likely to get involved in. But thanks for that information. Alias Teape. Kerry will stream today from that Earring motherboard. Oh, okay. So he's using that as a streamer. Looking for other emojis or oranges. No others. Well, I think if I reliably skip over things that are not in orange or with emojis, that'll force people to start using that. Okay. On my remote connection screen is showing still rebooting 12 minutes worth. So it's been working on that restore operation that long. Did I cover all the topics that were requested? I think so.
I'm not saying it will, but wouldn't it be something, Doug, if because your computer still says rebooting on your end for Josh's computer, that if it did automatically reestablish the connection?
Yeah, that would be very surprising. Is somebody else chiming in there?
Well, the
really would be confused.
Say again, Josh?
The top bar is the head of the bottom bar.
Yeah, okay.
The bottom bar is on 13 and the upper bar is on 57. So the upper bar is going to get done before the bottom bar is done.
Yeah, but the upper bar is probably going to restart again. Because I think the upper bar is showing the current task and the bottom bar is showing the overall task. But even when the overall task completes, I think that one's going to start over again because we asked for a verify. So
Okay.
you don't need to keep reporting the progress of the bars. Just the only thing we care about is when the overall task, that bottom bar is getting towards the right edge, then you could let us know that. I've got another topic requested here. I see Dennis had asked for number 7. By the way, you kind of uninstall Teams. Well, I got something to show you about Windows 11 here that surprised me. And I haven't put any effort into resolving it. I just saw it this morning. Disabling the forced Microsoft Teams from Windows 11. So let me show on Baby Beast here, which has Windows 11 now. Is down here on the notification area, there's an icon for Microsoft Teams. In the past, I would just do Windows key R and then appwiz.cpl to get into the install or change programs screen. And there would always be on a default installation, a Teams, what was it called? Automatic
machine-wide install.
Thank you. Right. Machine-wide. It would be Teams machine-wide install. And it's not here. That would be in the T's. And then there would also be a Microsoft Teams if it was actually installed for the current user, but it is not here. So it's not showing up in here at all as being installed, yet it is running right now. What I haven't looked at yet is to see if it's listed in apps. So if I go to all apps, then click on, let's see, double click on the A to get me an alphabetical listing. Then I'll try going to the T section. TeamViewer, TechSmith, Terminal Tips. So Teams is not there. And then I'll click on any letter here to get the alphabetic listing again. Go to M for Microsoft and see if there's a Microsoft Teams in here. Here it is, Microsoft Teams. So it's showing here as an app, not as a as what I think of as a program. Now, the other thing that you could do is right-click on the Windows button and go to Task Manager, which is, this is what I was referring to as the different layout of Task Manager. Over here on the left-hand side now, Startup Apps. And you could go in here to Microsoft Teams, click on that, and then click Disable. But that's not the same as in uninstalling it. I'd rather uninstall it. So I'm going to come back again to the Windows button, and I have not done this yet or tried it yet on Windows 11. So click on the A, go to the M for Microsoft, and then Microsoft Teams. Right-click and uninstall. This app and its related information will be removed. Waiting to see if that disappears dynamically, or do I have to get out of here? And, yeah, it disappeared dynamically, so it's gone.
I still have the enterprise version of Office 365, and so that automatically installs Microsoft Teams with Office 365 as part of it. And you can't select not to install it when Office installs. So it automatically installs that. And I found if I try to go in and uninstall it, it will just reinstall the next time Office tries to do an update. And so I just go down to the taskbar, tell it not to start up when the machine starts up, because occasionally I do need to use Teams for interviews.
Is that even with uninstalling that, the name you just said, the Teams machine-wide install?
Yes.
So you uninstall that, and it still reinstalls Teams when you have this Enterprise Edition?
Yes.
Interesting. All right. And the Enterprise version, you're not actually managed by any Enterprise though, right?
No, it's because I'm still using it's because my school is still allowing me to use, like, I can still log into office.com using my school email.
All right.
And download it through there.
I'm
But
wondering.
it's weird. It's weird because that's the only thing. I can do.
I'm
using my school email. Nothing else works.
Yeah. I'm suspecting that the force reinstall Teams might be something that an administrator of the enterprise Microsoft 365 could change. That sounds like a Gary Weisenberger question to me.
Yes, it can be changed along with OneDrive.
Okay, so it's because the management of the enterprise version has not disabled that capability. That's why it's automatically reinstalling on every update.
But we do use Teams format.
Yeah, of
I'm
course.
not worried about it. I need it sometimes anyway. So
Yeah, of course.
it's fine.
And the enterprise environments often do use Teams. Okay, coming back to chat. Scroll down to the bottom. Let's see. Greg M was about cable management. Oh, Greg M is referring to Linus Tech Tips cable management, not Josh's. Here he's clarifying that the cable management was in reference to Linus and their network equipment. Cable management, it seems, as a lost art, or they have not ever implemented over the years. Now, they did explain, they did talk about the cable management. It sounds like the places where the cable management is still messy, they've they told us in that video about their plans to improve that. So it's a work in progress, what they showed on that video that they published yesterday. I've done. Say again.
What was the name of this screen?
The screen that we're talking about Linus Tech Tips.
Linus Tech Tips. Okay.
It sounds like you haven't heard of Linus Tech Tips. I can't believe.
I haven't.
Really? All right.
Wow, he's the one.
He's the one. He's the
One.
technician that doesn't know of Linus Tech Tips. All right. Although, as Carrie would say, and I'm suspecting Linus Tech Tips might, I don't know, would they consent to being enthusiasts?
Linus Tech Tips is Canadian, right?
Yes.
Well, one of our Arkansas family-owned gas stations here, Big Red, just got bought out by the Circle K, which is a Canadian company.
The videos that they produce, I would say, are targeted to computer enthusiasts. Their computer equipment, I mean, it's corporate enterprise stuff, but it sounds from that video that most of it is given to them.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and so they're not operating on the same financial concerns as a business enterprise would, where they're wanting to get really good bang for the buck. They talked about some equipment in that video that was donated for high-end purposes that they're using for kind of miscellaneous purposes because somebody else gave them other equipment that's better. So that's an enthusiast kind of environment. They're not subject to the financial realities of businesses. They are a for-profit business, but they don't have the same budget constraints.
Hey, Doug,
Yes.
they have a video, I just looked it up, that came up an hour ago, 14 minutes long. It has almost 200,000 views.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the one that they put out yesterday had, well, actually, when I saw it, it was kind of low on views because I noticed it right away. But yeah.
And
Yeah.
Hey, 2,000 an hour. Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah.
Do you know about the Inside Edition YouTube channel?
No, I don't recognize that.
There's a news channel called Inside Edition that has millions of subscribers, and they get thousands of views in a few minutes. Well, a while back on one of their videos they posted, I was like the first view or the first comment on that video. I thought that was an honor.
Yeah, that's kind of fun to do.
Yeah, I'm showing Linus Tech Tips with 15 million subscribers.
Yeah.
6,000 videos. And his latest one is 1 hour ago with 185,000 views.
All right, Josh has an update for us.
A log dock in the window that feeds your remote weapon.
What's the, oh, hey, wow. Look at this.
Check that out.
Look at this. I have a launch remote control session button.
I should put a bet on that.
What was that, Alex?
I should have put a bet on that it would reconnect.
Yeah, you should have. Now that if they, well, let's just go see what we got. I was going to say if the restore failed, that might explain, but let's check properties of the C drive. There we go. Yeah, the remote session came back. Okay, here's an
Open up his disk management just to see the differences
sure
now than what it was before.
Sure. And
You
then
don't have to hold your camera up anymore, Josh.
Yeah, relax, Josh. Yeah, here's the C drive at 929 gigabytes in size, and that recovery partition out here on the right side. So somebody who is experienced with a particular partition manager software could have accomplished this in less overall time. But for a person who's not acquainted with that particular partition management software, including me, you'd have to go figure it out a little bit. I probably would have had some interaction with chat room, but this method I knew, and we accomplished teaching Josh how to do this if he comes across that in the future. And we accomplished teaching anyone else watching this video how to do that. And I think it takes less technical competence to do the restore operation this way than it does to go use a disk partition tool.
If you get a new computer, though, it'll have that. Some have the recovery. You can boot up, I think, do like an F3 in BIOS, and it'll reinstall Windows with all the bloatware that comes from HP or Dell or whoever. That's what you're getting rid of, not the recovery from inside Windows 11 itself. That's the one that basically. That is the one that basically re-images the whole drive brand new. Okay.
Well, when you do a Windows reset, would that be using that recovery partition?
The 1 gig that's still out there, that's where that comes from.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I was thinking it would be. And that partition is not involved for a system restore, correct?
Correct.
Would that...
If you get rid of that partition in Windows 11, you will have an inoperable system.
Oh, if you get rid of the recovery partition on Windows 11, that will break the C drive? Oh, all right.
The 1 gig, or well, it's not 800 to 1.2 gig.
Oh, well, let me come back here to Josh's computer and be sure I understand which partition you're referring to.
Because there's actually 4 partitions.
Yeah. So, but
basically system partition, the Windows 800 gig partition, whatever size. Then there is a recovery partition on his. Oh, it's 1.7 gig. If you get rid of that, you will brick the system.
Really?
Yes.
Wait a minute. Hey.
That's contrary to what other people were saying before we did this.
You get rid of that 4th. Go ahead. Anybody want to try it?
Well, it's not a 4th. There's only 3 partitions there.
There's 4.
I only see 3. Is the 4th hidden?
There's only partition.
Depending on the disk format, GPT 3.
There will always be a disk partition. You'll see it's called 4 if you notice it. You look up here. Well, I'm on my screen. You can't see my screen, obviously. But if you look, it's partition 4.
Well, when I look up here in this list of partitions, there's a disk 0 partition 4.
Right.
Showing
109 partition at the starts. You have a partition between that and the, let's say, Windows partition. And then you have the recovery.
Well, up here on this list, I'm seeing the C drive, partition 1 and partition 4. That's the same thing I'm seeing down here in this graphical representation.
That is correct.
And
there's one that's in between the first partition and the second there.
There's a partition in here that we're not seeing?
Right, but yeah, right in between there. 16 meg on a GPT Windows 11 system, always.
Okay, so if we go to disk part, we should be able to see that, wouldn't we?
Yep, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, let's go see that. On command prompt as administrator. And then disk part. And list disk. And then select 0. Oh, we have 2 disks there. 2 931 gig. Oh, the is it the backup drive? The backup drive is the other one. So disk 0 is the one that contains the C drive. I did that wrong. Select disk 0, and then list part. And there's the 4 partitions.
Yep.
Okay. Bingo, bada
It's so
boom.
small you can't see it.
Yeah. And
Okay.
showing here as partition 1, 2, 3, 4.
One of the updates enlarged it. Used to be 16 meg, the second one, but 128 is fine.
128 meg. All right. So
I'm looking on Microsoft's site right now. They have an article, The Consequences of Deleting the Recovery Partition.
And what do they say?
You just won't be able to enter the Windows recovery environment. You will not brick the system. You can
Try it.
argue with Microsoft if you want, or
Well, I've done it because I didn't want it. I
if
read
you,
Right.
if you brick your system, I don't know, Microsoft says no problem, except you will not be able to enter the recovery environment.
But wouldn't you be able, even if you did remove the recovery partition, wouldn't you be able to repair it without using without having to completely wipe your machine by using a Windows 11 or 10 installation media and using repair your computer and like startup repair or something like that?
Definitely not, because that's where it comes from. But number one, I will take exception to that. When was it updated, the article, Brian?
It's about Windows 11 and last updated 6 weeks ago, March 5th, 2023.
I have bricked it. Maybe I haven't done it recently as I haven't played with it, but I have bricked it. The reason being is when you do an update, if you watch it, any update goes there if it does anything to the system. So if it's not there, it chokes and pukes.
now, Gary, were you referring to the reserve partition or the recovery partition?
The partition at the end of the disk, usually around 1 gig. My system is, yeah,
Okay, the end of the disk. That would be the recovery partition.
partition 4, yes.
That second partition that we couldn't see on the graphical screen, it was the reserve partition at 128.
At one point, they updated the boot partition, or the system partition would move on Windows 11. They fixed that, a year ago.
My
Right.
question was, could you, if you deleted the recovery partition, could you restore the recovery partition using a Windows 10 or 11 installation media without having to wipe out your whole computer?
I didn't know that level. I make an image. Everything, all my data, even at home and at work, everything's on server. I don't care what you do to your computer. We can re-image it in an hour, about an hour, back up. And at home, the same thing.
All right.
We have a home business and that's all on the server. But for my personal computer, because I do a lot of stuff with private cars, my, hobby, I image the thing before any updates. So I just back up.
Okay, so
I use remote, or I boot to an Acronis USB drive. I image it to an image on my D drive, as it were. And if I screw it up, I restore. Takes 3 minutes to image 800 gig on my drive.
okay. All right, so Alex, that then tells me we don't have that answer to your question there, whether.
I have not tried. I just
Okay, so let me catch up on chat because there's some questions in there. Martin Hogg, Doug in chat, looking for advice. I have a customer with an email problem, has 2 email addresses in Gmail and 3 Apple devices, wants to sync all mail, but 1 address not working, yet the account shows active. Okay, that sounds like that should be doable. I have that in many environments, multiple email accounts on access through multiple devices, wants to sync all the mail. So each device, as long as it's syncing with a Exchange server or an IMAP email account, that should sync across all devices. 1 address not working, yet the account shows active. Well, what's not working about that 1 address? Is it not syncing to one of the devices, or is you can't send and receive emails? What do you mean that, what is not working about that address? The question implies to me that it's not syncing on all the devices. I would first suspect that whatever device is not syncing, delete the account from there and recreate it. Be sure it's being recreated with a IMAP or an Exchange account, whichever you're needing. I think somebody's trying to chime in on that in Zoom. Is there? Nope. All right. Then I'll go on to the next question. That was Martin Hogg. Does Martin say anything else yet? Not yet. Dennis is trying to get.
Don't you have to be off of here at 1 o'clock? So
The appointment was for 2 o'clock. Are you referring to the appointment I made with my client?
yes.
Yeah, we made that appointment for 2 o'clock. When I originally announced that, I was thinking it was 1 o'clock. But I'd still like to be done by 1. Why are you asking that, Alex? Just to remind me?
Because it's 12:40 your time.
Yeah. You're just
like 20 minutes. It's
okay.
gonna be done by 1.
All right, you're just reminding me then. That's good. Thank you. Continuing on, or do what you did to get rid of it. Let's see, or do what you did to get rid of it. I'm not sure what you're referring to there, Dennis. But that was a while ago. So if we've already gone past that issue, then you don't need to clarify. Greg M., the problem is Linus should have a full-time IT manager and staff. He does. Not someone who dabbles in network maintenance sporadically. They lost RAID data due misconfiguration. Well, when I say he does have full-time, the guy that was on that video with him, he sounded pretty possessive. That was his gig, the choices of what to do with that equipment. That doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't do other things. And you may know more about their staffing than I do, but when I was hearing that guy explaining what was going on, I thought he was pretty aware, pretty knowledgeable. There's a small 16 meg MSR partition that shows disk part, but not disk management. Yep. Disk management does not show the disk MSR partition. Yep. So when we go into reinstall Windows, that 4th partition is visible there on that partition list, isn't it? Yeah, because we delete all the pre-existing partitions and we expect to see 4 there. I didn't realize that only 3 showed up in disk management. 128 megabytes was the default size in Windows 7. That's not the recovery partition. Recovery partition is 4. To me, deleting the recovery partition makes as much sense as cleaning up system files when you don't need any free space. Agreed. I would prefer to keep the recovery partition, and I rarely clean up system files on a computer. The only time I'll do that is a client calls me and they are stopped dead in their tracks because they're out of space. Then I can go clean up system files. If we routinely clean up system files, then when they call me saying they're out of space, I got nothing I can do to get them emergency back into operation. So I do not do the configurations that routinely clean up.
Well, Doug,
Space.
I have one suggestion in that case.
All right.
And if they're running out of space, either they have a smaller or limited drive, and if they only have the one drive, one option is to install a second drive, move over the pictures, the documents, downloads, and the music, and have them point to that drive, move all those files over there. The amount of room that people have in downloads and pictures is enormous. When you put them on a second drive, your C drive now becomes very empty.
Yeah.
Actually, my download drive has 1 KB called disk.ini in it.
I get all of my user files reside on a physically different hard drive.
Exactly. Now, the only problem I hate about Windows 10 and 11 is all your setups are under your user, and you can't change that very easily. I mean,
Right.
Word puts the templates and all that on the C drive. It doesn't change real easy.
App
At
data.
one point in time, wasn't there like a video release or some article release from Microsoft or somebody saying that people that had their documents and stuff pointing to other drives, having their stuff deleted or something
Yeah.
crazy like that?
They got totally wiped out during a particular Windows update sequence.
That affected, and it didn't affect, I remember that because we had a problem at corporate, but it was, we had it in advance. It wasn't, we didn't come in with the problems because obviously people don't save their own drive in a corporate environment.
Right. And it was a select circumstance where that happened. I don't think it happened to everybody that had their pictures and documents stored on a different drive. There was some unique circumstance to it. But that is Brian's comment about how to deal with out of space. That has been perhaps the situations that he's run across. The situations I've run across where somebody's running out of drive space, it's been for other reasons. It has not been for that reason. One of the reasons why it has happened is when somebody plugs in their iPhone to their office computer and they allow it to do a full backup of their iPhone to their office computer. And the office computer doesn't have that large of a C drive. Now that's back maybe early Windows 10 and certainly Windows 7 when drive space was much smaller. But now a lot of my typical user workstations have half a terabyte or a full terabyte of space. And when I have a choice, when I'm ordering a computer, I'll opt for the 1 terabyte, even though that user does not need that kind of space at all, because I want to make a partition on that drive for regular scheduled backups. Because it's so much easier to get somebody back up and running when they have somehow damaged their Windows operating system or an update has caused them a problem. I can just restore that remotely, takes a small amount of my time, has them down for half an hour to an hour, but the alternative means I go pick up their computer and do a full fresh install of Windows and they're down for a day or more.
The other good thing about such as what I've done, take all my user data and I tell Windows it's over there on a different drive. Windows says, fine, we know where the location is. That's when you save everything, it'll be there. But the great thing is, if my C drive, if I happen to get some kind of virus or rootkit on that drive and it wipes out the C drive, guess what? I've lost 0 data files. Just a fresh install of Windows, have it repoint to where that stuff is at. I'm back in the saddle.
Of course, it also means that you not only have to be backing up your C drive, but you have to be backing up that other drive where your data is stored.
I didn't want to bring that up. I got 6 terabytes here. What's the problem?
When I was managing the college network we had, I was the main guy because I had set up disk quotas so that every user on the machine, every user that has logged into any particular machine, other than administrators, could only save 5 gigabytes worth of stuff.
All right, let me get.
It wouldn't let you save anything.
Yeah, that made you the bad guy to them. Greg M. Gmail is sometimes difficult in that it sometimes requires you to use app password rather than the default password. Are you on the?
Let me say something real quick, if you would. I know I'm interrupting. I added something to Zoom chat or the YouTube chat. You'll see as we're talking about getting rid of data. We actually check what you've done because of what I posted, and then we delete it, and we, of course, deal with what you're doing. If you take a look at something.
Oh, no problem. Huh?
No, but that's Ford, but we work closely with them. That was sent to us the minute it happened from Ford.
Yeah.
Oh, the company laptop. I thought his own laptop.
Oh, no. You don't touch our network with it. It's company. It's our tool. You touch it. Oh, God.
Exactly, yeah. No problem there.
Yeah. And if you're looking at, forget it, but if you're not using our tool to go play video games, you will be fired.
All right, let's go on here. Greg M. Gmail is sometimes difficult in that it's sometimes required to use a app password rather than the default password. I do not understand that comment. I've never seen a case where you have to use a app password for Gmail. So on a cell phone, you could be using the native email application that comes with the phone, or you could be using the Gmail app, which I have on occasion used, but I've only had to use, for passwords, I've only had to use my email account password. Let's see.
Something's wrong. Something's wrong if they won't let you change your password.
Yeah.
To whatever you want.
I don't know. Well, I don't know that that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's not saying that they're forcing you to change it. I'm not sure what he's saying.
It sounds like he's saying that if you try to set up your Gmail account on like Thunderbird or Microsoft or Outlook, it will try to.
No, I don't know how you see that. He doesn't mention Thunderbird or Outlook.
Gmail's Gmail. There's not two passwords for one account.
Yeah.
That I know.
I don't know what that's about. Maybe he'll explain. Looking for other.
No, they don't use it.
Here, Martin Hogg says, Doug, thanks. If I delete the account which does not send or receive on any device, if I send a test mail to that address, it shows as sent, but no arrival. And if the account's removed, isn't data lost? If it's a IMAP account or an Exchange account, you do not lose data by deleting the account from any device because the data is stored in the cloud. If it was a POP3 email account and you have emails stored on that device, then yes, you would lose those well under certain circumstances. We don't know enough of the circumstances here. So he's saying, if I delete the account which does not send or receive on any device. So that's telling us the problem he's having is this Gmail account doesn't send receive on any of the devices. So the account's totally broken on devices, but assuming on a computer, he can go to the Gmail website and access the email through the website.
Does he have two-factor on that account? Because it may be causing an issue with the sign-in of if he's trying to use some app on the computer.
Could be, and there's also a thing, I think in Gmail accounts as well as some other mail accounts about legacy apps. If the devices that you're trying to send and receive that email are not the most current devices, you might need to turn on permission in Gmail to allow legacy apps. If I send it go ahead.
Go ahead, Brian.
What does it mean?
Oh, no. Well, with Outlook, there's an example. You have an Outlook password, you can have an Outlook, well, you do have an Outlook password, and then you have a password to your email on Enterprise or your ISP, and they can be different.
Yeah, with Outlook, you can, like for a PST file or even OST file, you can have those protected with a password. So when you launch Outlook, you have to put in the password for accessing that storage of your emails, but that's separate from your email password. I'm not aware of an app requiring.
I have an example for the third-party apps requirement in Gmail or Google account.
Okay, what is that?
Some HP printers have the ability to do what they call scan to email, and what that basically will allow you to do is set up on the printer itself, like on the printer web page, web UI control panel page. It will allow you to set up your email account, your Gmail account or Outlook account or whatever, to automatically be able to send you a scan document. So you can go to your printer from the printer control panel. You can select your email account, put your document in there, it would scan the document and it would automatically send it to your Outlook account as a PDF or as a JPEG. That requires third party app permit if you're trying to send that document to a Gmail account.
Okay. So that device needs to know your Gmail account password, but does that require a separate password for the app on the printer?
No, it only requires the option in your Gmail account under security
Oh, okay.
or your Google account to be able to allow third party or whatever.
Yeah, okay. So that could be what's going on for the mobile devices for Martin. Let me continue in chat. Going again for things that are highlighted. Greg's and my user Cronus notification. I have to use an app password for it to notify me of completion of remote backup jobs. Oh, okay. I use a Cronus notification and I have to use an app password for it to notify me of completion of remote backup jobs. Okay, with the paid version of Macrim Reflect, I have that set up on some of my clients' computers where it emails me a confirmation when it completes backups or fails backups. Now, to do that, I have to give Macrim Reflect account credentials so that it can be an authorized sender on an email account. I don't think of that as an app password, but I have to give it credentials to use to be able to send an email as a email account as me, essentially. Or there's been occasions when I've used other accounts, but I wouldn't think of that as a password for the application. Then here Greg M is giving a link for Gmail app passwords. So here this should give us a better idea. Was sign in with app passwords. App passwords aren't recommended and are unnecessary in most cases. To help keep your account secure, use sign in with Google to connect apps to your Google account. An app password is a 16-digit passcode that gives a less secure, I've done this, a less secure app or device permission to access your Google account. I have done this. I just didn't think of it as an app password. App passwords can only be used with accounts that have two-step verification turned on. But that's a one-time thing. Once you authorize it, you don't have to keep doing that over and over. That is a way to authorize an app to have access to your device, and that is different than the email account password. So I guess that's what he's referring to. Let's go back up to Greg M's first question. Gmail sometimes difficult in that it sometimes require you to use an app password rather than the default password. Yeah, so that would be if you want some application to be able to access that account. Yeah, it's a one-time configuration. So I think that's a good thing to do. What's laughing over here?
I'm just reading chat message.
All right.
Doug, I'm gonna hop off, yo.
All right.
Thank you for your help.
You're welcome, Josh. I'm going to disconnect from your computer. Let's see. Come up here to the top. Reduce that. Right click and end. Okay. I'll get to whatever you're laughing at in a little bit. Brian. Ran Israel, since June 2021, Gmail doesn't allow native POP IMAP access anymore. You need to use OAuth2 or app password with 2FA if you want to use a third-party email client. Okay, it's possible that I haven't configured a Gmail account on a mobile device since that was changed, because my clients, the ones that I configure for their mobile devices, I think are all Microsoft 365 accounts. So if that's become a more regular thing, I'm not aware of it. So perhaps now being informed. IMAP is enabled okay. I think that's probably on the email account. It's configured to allow IMAP. What is the difference between IMAP and POP3? In many ways you could answer that. You could answer it by just saying what the letters stand for. I won't go that road, but more what people would care about is the functionality. IMAP, your email, and there's some nuances to this. IMAP, the email messages would stay available on the server, download to your phone when you if you have let's say you have multiple devices, your computer and maybe a couple mobile devices, maybe multiple computers. If you have IMAP, that means when you delete the message from one device, it will be deleted from all of the devices. With POP3, your email downloads to the device. If you delete the message from your device, it does not necessarily delete from the email account, and it may not delete from the other devices. If the other devices have not yet downloaded email, then they'll never get the one that you deleted. So there's multiple nuances with POP3. I don't want to ever use POP3 again. Explaining to a client how to work with it was difficult because I'd have clients back when POP3 was the thing. They would get their email messages to Outlook. They'd be stored in a PST file. Then we configure their phone for their email account. Email comes to the phone. And I would explain to them that if you delete messages on your phone, they're still going to be on your computer. Some of my clients liked that. They would randomly delete stuff that were business related from their phone and just keep their personal emails if they were using the same email account for personal and business, which does happen. Get over it. And they would get used to working that way. Then when we switch them over to IMAP or Microsoft Exchange, they have to learn a different way of doing things, because now if they delete anything on their phone, it's going to be deleted from their computer and vice versa. But that hasn't seemed to be a big learning curve. So Arnold, if you need more clarification of that, then do a follow-up question.
ChatGPT should tell them real easily.
Oh, okay. Let's go do that. Let's say
It'll be interesting.
You had to go there.
Yeah, I know.
Explain the difference between POP3 and IMAP as if I were 10 years old.
I think a 10-year-old probably understands better.
Oh, yeah, that's the catch. We might get a more complex explanation. Might be better to say as if I were 75 years old or 95. Sure, I can explain the difference. I'm not going to read through all this, but you're just going to see things like, imagine you have a mailbox at your house and your friends and family like to send you letters and packages. That's the kind of wording that you're going to get with asking for a 10-year-old. I'm not going to read through it. If you want to pause the video here and read through that, be my guest. I'll even zoom it up a bit and show it here and then scroll down to there.
It looks pretty good. Pretty informative.
I would think so. I found it to be pretty good. But I just want to give that little cutesy about like I was 10 years old. And you could ask for a question like that, and if you get too technical explanation, then say, explain it like I were 10 years old. You don't have to rephrase the whole question. Let me just go do a piece of that. Okay. Explain it as if I am a computer technician. You don't have to rephrase your question, and I don't even have to spell the word technician correctly.
And this is the good thing about ChatGPT. It's a language model. Like you're really talking to it in person.
Yeah, you're having a conversation. That is what's totally different than Googling something. All right, so I'm not going to scroll through that. If you want to pause the video, you can do that on your own time. Oh, I need to get back to chat to see other emojis or oranges. Martin Hogg, all 3 devices are Apple. I'm thinking of logging off all devices except one and starting over. That's a fair idea. Now, I think he was saying that there were multiple email accounts, but only one of the email accounts was having the trouble. So that would make me think there's something about the configuration of that email account. And if that's true, then this is not going to solve the problem. If it's a configuration about that email account, then logging off all the devices and logging in again is not going to fix it. Somebody, no, I'm going for the emojis and the oranges. Stop reading them all, Doug. Arnold Albert gives me a thumbs up for, what was it that he's responding to? I don't remember. Oh, what's the difference between IMAP and POP3? That's what he was giving me a thumbs up for. William Dawson. There is ice falling in Cocoa, Florida at the minute. Want some, anyone? Okay. Zvi Menor, support Google accounts. This might have less secure apps in your Google account. Keep your account secure. From May 30, 2022, Google no longer supports use of third-party apps or devices which ask you to sign into your Google account using only your username and password. Now, I believe recently I did do OBS sign in to my Google account to be able to live stream to my YouTube account. Did it have me go through that extra stuff? It's possible that it did, and I just don't remember because I wouldn't bother remembering it. If it made me go through that one-time password thing, whatever it's called. This deadline does not apply to Google Workspace or Google Cloud Identity customers. The enforcement date for these customers will be announced on the Workspace blog at a later time. My recollection, though, is I did do that after that date, configuring OBS to do live streams to YouTube and Twitch and Facebook concurrently for my Fortnite gaming. And my recollection is I just signed into the account, my Google account. If an app or site doesn't meet our security standards, Google might block anyone who's trying to sign into your account from it. Less secure apps can make it easier for hackers to get into your account, so blocking sign-ins from these apps helps keep your account safe. Thank you for that, Savi. Rand says I stand corrected for the date, probably for that change. All that off the coast of Tampa is supposed to move up. Stop doing that, Doug. All right, looking for emojis and orange chat messages.
Shock color.
Say again?
Shock color.
Shock color, yeah, something to get my attention. Well, that's 108. I think it's about time to shut things down.
I'm gonna have to show up over there on Saturdays and slap your hand when you do that.
Oh, when I start reading messages that aren't lit up, light me up. Chris's comment has emojis, but they're laugh emojis. So I probably need to identify that. I don't mean it. Maybe it needs to be emojis at the beginning to get my attention, because laugh emojis, I don't. You should be able to do those without meaning something for me to read. Martin Hogg, so if I log off all devices except one, then remove the faulty Google account and restore, will a customer defo not lose message? Definitely, I guess, not lose messages. As long as they are not POP3 accounts. I don't know, is it even possible to still have POP3? Does it still exist anywhere? I don't know. Not for Gmail accounts, obviously. Mm-hmm. And you could prove that, Martin, by logging in through the website on those email accounts and see that all the email messages are there. So if you delete the accounts from the phone, and even when you get a prompt It'll tell you this will delete all messages off of your phone or off of your device. That's okay. That does not delete them from the account.
I must be the oddball. I use POP3 for everything.
Oh, so you are still using POP3. It can.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. All right.
Yeah, I've got one laptop, 2 desktops, a phone, and an iPad, who all look at the accounts that I have, the email accounts I have. IMAP would be a disaster for me.
All right. Yeah, it's your workflow is very solidly locked into that. I understand that.
What I found is some of the ISPs who claim that they do not support POP3 anymore, and they may have the configuration information on their websites on how to set up the port settings for IMAP and all that good stuff. The POP3 settings still exist.
All right.
They may not publish them anymore, so you're like grandfathered in. You know, you take an old person like Jim, well, sure, his POP3 still works.
Well, that makes.
We're going to go there with the old part, are we?
Is it possible, though, if you try to configure a new device using a Gmail account that has not previously been using POP3, can you do that? Will they let you set that up new?
Not Gmail.
I would think not.
No. Gmail does have somewhere where you can set POP3 access to the account.
Aha.
All right.
So
you have to go online to Gmail itself. There's a place there. I know that because I had to do that to get Thunderbird to work correctly.
Well,
so the old man does know.
Well, I have done that. I have done that in the past. I didn't know if that would be available on a newly created Gmail account.
No.
Because it could.
Jim is grandfathered in, is what you're saying.
It could be.
Still single on Gmail too. I don't have 2-factor.
All right. Let me get the last comments here, and then we'll say good night, Gracie. Sam Lazar, you can use still POP3. You can still use POP3 with Google if you have less secure app account enabled and app passwords. Can you do that with creating a new Gmail account? Is my remaining question. Because he might be saying that simply because he can go see that setting is there, but is it there for a newly created account? Streaming live from a hot dog PC, Carrie Holzman waiting scheduled. Oh, thanks for letting me know that. I will go set up a redirect to Carrie's show if he's got that configured.
I don't know why this would be anything of a real eventful stream, except for the fact that given the parts he's using, it'll probably die several times.
Yeah, anybody in Zoom? I got a quick question. Do you see any of my posts on YouTube?
Do I see? Well, what was the last time you posted something? Last time I showed you posting something, 109 was, well, let me see. I see 06, 09. Yeah,
I
okay.
see
Yeah. I see.
Yeah.
You can refresh your browser and see if they're still there. Anybody want to try?
Why, did you delete them?
I don't know. Did I?
What's going on with Chris?
Yeah, you're right. They're gone. Yeah, they're gone.
Did you notice they weren't retracted?
Wait a minute. Are you saying Gary's messages are gone?
Refresh their hold on. And if you notice it doesn't say retracted, like, you know, you can go retract something and say, oh, I made a mistake. They're gone, but you don't know why, do you?
They did disappear after I refreshed. I did F5.
Yeah.
That's odd.
Somebody was asking me about that the other day because
that's really weird.
What messages are you talking about?
All of them.
All of
I
them.
got them going all the way back to 2:33 p.m.
hit refresh.
Refresh.
I'll try to see what happens.
Yeah.
I didn't want to lose all the messages. I usually go back and read them.
They're gone if you refresh.
Yeah, I just demonstrated it on stream.
It's like POP3.
So Gary, I'm assuming you don't know why that happened?
Oh, I do know why.
YouTube probably said it like that.
No, there's Google My Activity. just disappears like it's never there.
I don't
And you do it.
I don't understand. You said Google my activity. You're asking us to Google Gary Weisenberger's activity? What?
No, you can go to Google My Activity and it'll let you do YouTube. It'll get rid of your comments, your chat, your channel comments, your chats, your likes, anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you like this video, you can start zapping your likes too. You can zap your channel comments, your comments for the video down below. And they just, your reply will stay there, but my comment will disappear and you'll be saying something like, hey, Joe, great video or great comment. And Joe's comment will be gone and you'll look silly.
So are you saying that you Googled my activity for yourself and that automatically deleted all your comments in the chat room today without you asking for that to happen?
Oh, no. You go to Google accounts and then go to My Activity. You can delete it.
Oh, so you deleted, you did that. You made that
but
happen.
you do not know why I deleted it, or you didn't even see a retraction. It says gone. I'm just showing you.
Oh, all right. All right.
I made comments. You didn't see a retraction. You go and wait, where'd it go? You guys were looking at it a minute ago and you refresh the screen and it's like, woo.
Google
and
my.
You can be talking to me and it's gone. I mean, it's like, whoa.
All right. So I thought you were.
Oh, no, it was not a mistake. I did it on purpose.
Okay. Well, when you said you knew how it happened, I thought somebody else did that to you and you were not wanting to say that out loud. You made it happen. All right.
You can go to My Activity and delete anything you want to.
Okay.
What I'm saying is go back to after it's published and delete it is what I'm saying.
All right. Got you. I'm with you now.
Somebody did some comments at work about somebody else at work and they decided better of it.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to go demonstrate that because I want to preview that before I do that live, and I want to shut down the video anyway. Let's see, am I all caught up? Live from a hot dog. Thanks everyone. Do not like pop 3 and when me put this in for Google My Activity. Okay, we're done. From the Zoom session, would you say goodbye to the audience for me, please?
Goodbye to the audience for me, please.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Same time, same station.
All right, goodbye. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you for hanging out with us. Goodbye. Ending meeting. And should have been ready on the button so that other Zoom screen didn't stay on there so long. Thanks for hanging with us, everybody. There's the email address if you need to reach out to me for anything. And well, it's not anything. I don't do support, and I'm probably not going to reply to your email by email. You send me a comment or a question, I'm probably going to respond to that during a live show somewhere after when you sent me the email. Stop talking, Doug. Say goodbye. Goodbye.